Welcome back to Chin Music, our baseball show at TalkNorth.com. Thanks for listening to TalkNorth.com. Best way to listen to this show or any of our many sports and outdoor shows that you like at the network, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. Free, easiest way to listen. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios, and this show is presented by Giggly THC Beverages, GIGLI.com. Use the promo code GIGLYNORTH, GIGLI North, to get 50% off your first order. We appreciate their support. Also, thanks to OnX Hunt, another presenting sponsor of Chin Music. Tell you about them and our other sponsors later in the show. The lineup today, Roy Smalley, former Twin star, Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. Also want to let you know we've added Mark Rosen to our stable of talent. He's doing his own show, Rosen Sports Monday. Great show with Don Shelby this week. He'll keep that rolling. He's also emceeing the Talk North Sports Report. Check out that show. We did that at Parlay Kitchen and Bar a couple weeks back. All right, let's get to it. We're going to talk about Simeon Woods-Richardson and his apparent feud with Kyle Isbell from the Royals. We'll get into our Booze and Blues segment at the end, but let's go really big picture here to start, Roy. Not a great start for the Twins as they're entering this homestand now with another loss at Kansas City. What's your level of concern about this team right now?
Well, my level of concern is the same as it was when they started the season. I just, as you know, I mean, I'm concerned about the lineup and about the bats, and I think we're seeing why. I mean, they've pitched well enough, right? They pitched well enough to be 500. They had it. They've had Bailey Ober blew up one game, and Paddock blew up one game. Ryan wasn't his best one game, but Pablo Lopez has pitched, certainly well enough to win with some offensive support, as has the last outings from, Ryan and Ober and even Woods-Richardson. So it's we can't. I think their pitching staff is going to be okay, but we can't put it all on the staff. I mean, we can't. They can't score. They can't score 3 runs a game, 2 runs a game, 1 run a game. I mean, you're not going to win that way. And with this pitching staff, I think it's good enough to get to the bullpen and then close out games. But you have to get leads, and you have to have leads that are not 2-1 enough at the time. And so I'm just obviously they need Royce Lewis back. Their lineup concerns me just because of what I've said. I don't have much more to add other than they've got a lot of guys that strike out and will hit 250 to 270, and if they're all and have a lot of talent in the 270 to 280 range when they're doing that, but that's what they have. They all have to be hitting well, pretty much, to score enough runs, and they're going to be the kind of club that's all the guys there in the lineup are streaky, and so it just means that there are going to be streaks like this when guys aren't swinging the bat. Enough guys aren't swinging the bat well. It goes back to our Nelson Cruz discussion about having a big thumper hitting third for you day in, day out. Royce Lewis may develop into that at some point in time if they get him back and he can stay healthy for a year, the rest of the year. But that's just that. I just felt like that was kind of their characteristic was, a lot of talented but streaky hitters that are going to go through several streaks during the course of the year where nobody's swinging the bat particularly well, and we're seeing that now.
Yes. And it feels to me like Miranda, his slow start, his slump, whatever you want to call it, has been fairly important, because you go from hoping Royce Lewis is going to be your kind of your pivotal hitter in the middle of the lineup to having Miranda bat in 8th and not really getting anything done there.
Yeah, it's really true. I mean, when the Twins have done well, Miranda has been a run producer. I mean, if you think about the streaks that he has had, and there have been streaks over the last 3 years when he looked like he's okay. Now he's going to be the hitter he was in AAA in the big leagues. And when he had those streaks, the Twins scored a lot of runs. He was in the middle of a lot of run production in the lineup, his and guys around him. And when he hasn't hit, we've gotten streaks like this, right? And so I think he is, will the real Jose Miranda show up? Please step forward. I don't know what to say about him other than when he's going well, it looks real because he's hitting the ball all over the ballpark and not missing pitches that he ought to hit. And when he's not going well, which has been a lot of the time, it looks like he's real pull conscious and he's not hitting the ball to right center like he does a lot of the time, and he's pulling off and missing, fouling back pitches he should hit. So I don't know. I think I've always been hopeful for him because it just felt like he was going to be a really good offensive player, and we just don't know yet.
No, you're right. And I hate using the phrase "it's early" just as much as I hate using the phrase "if healthy." But I mean, there's still a lot of season left. He could still have a good season, but so far he's been a negative, unfortunately, because he's not a fielder. He needs to really produce at the plate to have value. We're going to talk about some other hitters. We have the great hitting expert Roy Smalley here. We're going to take advantage of that. But let's get to something a little funky. LaVelle E, our partner on the show, tipped us off to, and it was an exchange between Simeon Woods-Richardson and Kyle Isbell when Simeon Woods-Richardson pitched earlier this week, and he pitched well. Isbell comes up and bunts down the third base line, gets a hit. I think Woods-Richardson botched the play, so I think it was a hit. I can't remember if there was an error signed on the play, but basically it was an easy bunt hit. It was a perfect bunt against an alignment that wasn't ready for the bunt. Next time he comes up, Woods-Richardson gives him the bunting sign, like, "You're really going to bunt on me again?" And then Isbell takes him deep. So it seemed like they were kind of getting into it with each other in a subtle way. And Isbell won this encounter. But I will start here. I don't understand why a pitcher would be offended by a hitter bunting. Isn't bunting just a legitimate part of the game?
I've never understood that. I'll go a step further and say a pitcher's throwing a no-hitter in the seventh inning, and a guy tries to, and the score is close, and a guy tries to bunt for a base hit, and now the pitcher invariably will scream at him for being an idiot and not stepping up there, trying to beat him, prevent him from baseball history by bunting for a hit. And I always thought, well, so if a guy is trying to hit 300 late in the season, if it was Ted Williams, he's going to hit 401, and he decides to play the last two games of the season, and he's be the last hitter to ever hit 400. Then should guys only throw him fastballs?
Right.
I mean, should Ted Williams have screamed at the pitchers for having the hubris of throwing him a changeup or a slider when he's trying to hit 400? I mean, I just I don't get the personality now. Totally with you. Bunting for a hit is part of a lot of guys' games, and they should be allowed to do that. And if you can't throw a no-hitter when a guy who's a bunt specialist is trying to bunt on you, then you don't get to. That's the way it goes. But far be it from Simeon Woods-Richardson, who has yet to pitch has yet to make 30 starts, I think, in the big leagues, and I just don't get it. You haven't been around long enough yet, and if you were Justin Verlander, I would say, that's a stupid reaction. But for a young guy like that, and pitching against another young guy who's trying to establish himself as a major league player, I mean, that's just stupid in my humble estimation. I just don't get it. And I actually don't get Woods-Richardson's attitude at all. I don't know if Isbell was on second. The part of that clip that LaVelle sent us it might have been Melendez that was on second base, but he actually, he turned around at Melendez. I think Melendez got a base hit off him or something, or a double. And he turned around and looked at him at second base and gave him a little kiss sign with his mouth. And it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What is the attitude here? You need to be worried about A, getting through this ball game, B, having a really good year, and then C, becoming a star major league pitcher before you start blowing guys kisses and being pissed because they bunt on you. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. And I just don't understand how we ever get away from doing what it takes to win the game. And if you think bunting is the right play for your team to win the game, you should absolutely bunt.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So, nothing more to say about that, I guess.
Yeah. And listen, we can add the caveats. I mean, Woods-Richardson has been excellent for this team. He saved them last year. If they'd made the playoffs, he would have been one of the big reasons. He's a good young pitcher, but that was just bizarre stuff. Let's get to the re-arrival, I just made up a word, of David Festa, some other hitters, and we will get to our Booze and Blues segment later on. I do want to remind you we're sponsored, and we have a presenting sponsor, Giggly THC Beverages, GIGLI.com. I like the blueberry lemonade. I had one of those last night. You can order them in 10 milligram of THC or 5 milligram of THC. The 10 is pretty good time. The 5 is more just a mellow night, just chilly out a little bit before you go to bed. They have a raspberry ginger mule I love, pineapple mojito I love, blood orange margarita. My wife likes the Arnie Palmer. There's also a raspberry tea. There's a lime seltzer that we really like. But go to giggly.com. You'll see all the varieties, and they don't have more than just drinks as well. I really like it. I highly recommend it. It's very flavorful. It's affordable. It's natural flavors. You're going to feel good when you're drinking it. You're going to feel good after you're drinking it. You will not have a hangover. Highly recommend it. Also, I have to ask, have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that? Or maybe you need to know exactly where a property line runs. That's where onX Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using onX for their jobs every day throughout the country, from farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property. This app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, onX Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download onX Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onxmaps.com/hunt to get started. Also want to thank Aquarius Home Services.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services. They say knowledge is power, and power is having a great plumber and electrician on speed dial. Enter Aquarius Home Services. Whether your toilet's bubbling like a science experiment or your lights are blinking like a strobe light, we have you covered. Plus, get $98 off any electrical or plumbing repair. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com and let the experts handle the chaos. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
So what do you expect to see from David Festa? He obviously had a case of the nerves when he first came up last year, but he settled in and he had some really good starts for this team. Now that Pablo Lopez is going on the injured list, what do you expect from Festa?
I think more of the same. That the way he finished this season last year, he pitched some really good ball games last year, and he did it by pitching. He did it in a fashion that looked real to me, and the reason is because his fastball sat comfortably at 95 miles an hour, which is enough if you've got secondary pitches, and he came a long way with his secondary stuff. So here's the thing with a right-handed pitcher like Festa. There are 3 things in terms of stuff and location that you have to do. You have to have enough fastball, 95 is enough, and you have to not throw it in the middle of the plate very often, right? You're going to get away with it once in a while, but if you're all around the edges of the strike zone with your fastball, periodically a fastball in the middle of the plate is okay. You're going to get away with it. After that, then your out pitches for both left-handers and right-handers, but right-handers in particular, is a slider on the outer third of the plate, and the outer third up from a from on the plate standpoint, and the outer third from a height standpoint, right? And the closer that you can come to throwing it, right, just inside the outside corner, have it break from strike, looking like strike, to break away to ball. That's your strikeout pitch, and that's the pitch that gets guys worried, so that you can come back around and throw fastballs inside and jam them, because they're worried about that slider that looks like a fastball that they have been fooled on. So that combination of pitches in those locations, in and out with a fastball, and then out there on that corner with slider, that's the antidote for right-hand hitters. And in like manner, it's fastball same way to left-handers, and then the changeup breaking that has good alternate speed from the fastball, and then good depth running, down and away from the left-hand hitter. And that's the same combination of back and forth and in and out that that can get left-handers out. And he did that. When he was good, he was really good in that way, and he could pitch up in the zone, and he threw fastballs around it, both in and out on the corners. And it seemed like every time out, his slider and changeup got a little bit better from a location standpoint. And I actually really liked him for those reasons. I think he got an idea of what it needs for him, what it takes, what he needs to be successful with pitch selection and location. And boy, I would, if he can not have the nerves he had to start out last year, I would expect him to keep the Twins in the game very, very well.
Yeah, I do too, and I think it's really promising that they have Zebby Matthews has been pitching very well and has upped his velocity, and Andrew Morris, I know they're very high on. They have pitching depth. Of course, big picture, pitching depth is not their current problem. Their current problem is not being able to hit. What are you seeing from Ryan Jeffers? Midway through last season, I thought he was going to be an all-star and maybe a perennial all-star, and he just hasn't looked very good since then.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Ryan. He a couple of things. When he was really good, you recall, he was 100% better with two strikes, right? And I talked about it. We all talked about it on the air on TV when we were all of the analysts, at least Justin Morneau and I talked about it a lot, where and we showed it. He would choke up on the bat, and he got a lot of hits to right field to keep his average going, keep his mind feeling good about himself. And then he was a lot freer to let it go from a power standpoint earlier in counts, and that we've talked about this before, Jim. I mean, you have to be a good hitter, you have to have a two-strike approach. If you don't have a two-strike approach, everything kind of falls apart, and you will be really streaky, because it's, you're physically not as, not able to hit enough, and you're mentally not able to hang with yourself if every time you get to two strikes, you're cooked. Because then before you get there, you're so anxious about getting a pitch that you can hit in the seats or whatever. And that's kind of what we're seeing from Ryan Jeffers when he's not going well. He's swinging at a lot of high fastballs way out of the zone, a lot of inside fastballs way out of the zone. And then he's chasing pitches away from him, sliders and the like. And it looks like he's in between, right? It looks like, and this is why I think you have to have a good two-strike approach, so that you don't have to be in between before you get to two strikes. Two strikes is the time where you're in between, right? You just fight as best you can. But before you get to two strikes, then look for a fastball and look for it in the zone that you want it, and with no strikes, and tee off on it. And then if you want to continue to look for fastball just in the zone and think about hitting it to center field or right center field, if you're a right-hand hitter, then you can hit a lot of things. You can hit the fastball, and you can hit a lot of other things. Then if you get to two strikes, now you have your two-strike approach. But he looks like he doesn't have a two-strike approach, and he looks anxious and or in between, confused, because of, he's swinging at bad fastballs or getting beat on fastballs early in counts. And that looks like it's causing some real anxiety. And then he's then he's swinging at off-speed stuff. So it's kind of classic hitter stuff. I mean, we've all been through that. The best way that I ever saw anybody, get off of that was, giving yourself up, giving home runs up and giving pull field up and hitting some balls the center field in the opposite way, just to get you back on the ball a little bit. And then calm yourself down about, okay, I can get some hits. I can get some hits on tough pitches. Now I'm going to get back to looking for pitches I want, because I know I've got other options here when the count changes. And I just don't see that from him.
Yeah. Let's talk about the other catcher. Let's get to our Booze and Blues segment. Do want to let you hear from Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
Thanks also to a great Minnesota company, helps so many people, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
And here's another Talk North star, John Krasinski, star of the John Krasinski Show and the Viking Update Show on Chew Vision Institute.
Chew Vision Institute in Bloomington. I've been telling you about it for months now. Just a life-changing experience for me to go to Chew Vision and have LASIK surgery this summer. Everything is easier for me after having LASIK surgery. I don't have the hassles of contacts and eyeglasses. I don't have to worry about going in for annual appointments to get the eyes checked, and also to make sure that I have the latest and greatest style of glasses, and I'm not looking like some washed up 46-year-old like I am, trying to stay ahead of the trends. I don't have that anymore. I'm just going around free and clear without anything on my face. And that's all thanks to the good folks at Chew Vision. When you go into Chew Vision, you will immediately notice how welcoming, how warm, how friendly, and how knowledgeable the staff is there. They get you in, they get you checked out, they find the right vision correction options for you. And then Dr. Chew is just world class in how he helps you through the procedure, how he makes sure that he gets you taken care of, and like he did with me. And I've had zero issues with my vision since I had the surgery in July. And I just keep kicking myself and wishing I would have done it 10 years ago. So go to chewvision.com and set up your consultation. Tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you, and get on with your life. Make it easier on yourself, and just get to the point where you can kick your own self in the butt and say, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
Is there any hope for Vasquez at this point? I just feel like he's just a wasted at bat every time he goes up there.
So I'm going to amplify my broken record status here. And Look, when a guy is doing is swinging like he is and has an approach like he has, for me, you have to do something pretty drastically different because it's the same look now for 2 years in a row, and it's not working, and you're not going to solve it. I may have told this story before, but I said something to Drew Butero one time, and Drew Butero was a great defensive catcher.
Yes.
For the Twins and a couple other clubs, and he stayed in the big leagues because of how good he was defensively, but he just never really hit. That's why he was a backup catcher with all that defensive talent, and he could hit the ball in the seats periodically, or hit the ball over off his pull field fence, and so that's what it looked like he was trying to do. And I said to him one time, because if you're going to hit 200 and be a backup catcher, and you're okay with that, that's going to be your role in the big leagues until it doesn't work anymore. Then okay, then that's just that's just the way it is. That wouldn't be what I would want for myself, but it's a good job in the big leagues, and he had it for a long time. He made some money, and so good. But I said to him one time, hey, why don't you? Here's just a thought. Why don't you back off the plate a little bit? Look for the ball. Look for fastballs, from the middle of the plate out, and set up to hit every ball to right center. And I said, here's what that would do for you. You'll get a lot of hits over there. You have more time on the fastball. You don't have to be in a hurry. You'll get a lot of hits over there. Guys will hang breaking balls, and you'll be right on them because you're waiting to hit the ball to the other field. And every once in a while, he'll throw you a cookie fastball down the middle, and you're thinking you're trying to hit it to right center, but you just react and you'll hit it in the seats. And you'll hit as many home runs that way as you will trying to hit home runs and failing on every other pitch and location. And, and I didn't say it, quite that directly, but, we're just talking about hitting. And, he said he listened to all of it. He's very, nice young man. He listened to all of it. And he says, I've thought about that. I've tried it, but I'm just not comfortable doing that. And I wanted to say, I would never have been comfortable hitting 200.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what it looks like to me for Christian Vasquez. He's going to have an opportunity to play a lot of games because he's a good defensive catcher, and he runs a game, calls a nice game, all of those kinds of things. And trying to be a run-producing right-hand hitter to his pull field is just, it appears that that's not going to work. Choke up, get off the plate, line some balls to right field and right center, get yourself running around the bases a little bit, have fun offensively, doing what you can do, and just see if that doesn't work a little bit. Give yourself 50 at bats that way, because the last stretch of 50 at bat streaks we've had hasn't been that good.
They have not. No, you're giving good advice. I wish you would take it. Let's get to our Booze and Blues segment here. I'll start, Roy. Shame not to have LaVelle. LaVelle usually contributes heavily to the Booze and Blues segment. My band is working on a song, Dancing in the Moonlight by King Harvest. And because I'm a geek, I ended up doing it. I hate the word deep dive, but I guess I have no other choice but to say it's a deep dive on that song and that band. I was like, who the hell's King Harvest anyway? Well, they were a band kind of out of New York State. That band, when the guy wrote the song, they were running a nightclub in the Caribbean. And one night they got on somebody's boat. They went over to St. Croix, and this author of the song, I should have looked up his name before, but you can look it up yourself if you're interested. He and his girlfriend got seasick. Because they were seasick, they kind of got off the boat, stumbling around, forgot their money in their wallets. They go to an inn. They asked, hey, listen, we're sick and we forgot our money. Could you put us up tonight? And I swear to God, we'll go pay you off tomorrow. The innkeeper said, no, you only stay here if you let me sleep with your wife or your girlfriend. They said no to that. And then it was a beautiful night in the Caribbean. They're like, you know what? We can just sleep on the beach. We can survive that. Have a couple drinks, sleep on the beach. No big deal. They sleep on the beach. In this era, must have been late 60s, early 70s, there were street gangs in St. Croix that targeted tourists. So they end up getting beat up. He ends up getting severely beaten, required hospital stay, long convalescence. He barely held them off or scared them off enough that to save his, keep his ladies safe. And So how did that turn into Dancing in the Moonlight? He had such a bad experience. He decided to write a song about the way that night should have gone. That it should have just been this beautiful night sleeping under the stars with a woman he was affectionate to. And instead he basically wrote a fantasy song about what a night in the Caribbean should have been. That turned into Dancing in the Moonlight, ends up being that band's only hit, ends up being covered by some other bands. It was their only hit. And it's one of those songs that's always hung around the margins, not done by a great band, not super famous, but all of a sudden now you hear it on movie soundtracks and you hear it on Sirius radio on different channels. And so that horrible experience did lead to the one hit this guy wrote, the one hit that his band had. That's my Booze and Blues segment for today. Roy, what do you got?
I got nothing to add to that. I really don't. I have nothing of my own to add to that other than a couple of comments. First of all, great on this guy. I mean, really good for him that he got a hit song. And other people are doing it in movies. He's getting royalties for writing the song, and he's probably made a bit of money on that as a result. So it doesn't offset the awful night and getting beat up and all that, but good for him. I mean, there was something really positive that came out of that. And secondly, is that true that that's what the innkeeper said? I mean, come on, who does that? I mean, I thought that was just a Robert Redford movie. I didn't think that that anybody was really that big a douche. I mean, I can't believe that.
I know. Well, the guy's name is Sherman Kelly. He wrote the song. He's the one who was the victim of the attack, and it came from him. So I'm guessing you wouldn't make it up.
No, I'm sure that's absolutely true, and it was a rhetorical.
Right?
No
yes.
way. It was a rhetorical. You got to be kidding me with it. You know, I mean, I'd like to go down. I'd like to go down there and
bring a baseball bat.
Yeah, I mean, golly, that's just.
Yeah,
I'm kind of stunned by that whole thing. But that's a great story. That's a really great story. All
right, good stuff, Roy. Why don't we get a final thought from Roy on the Twins or anything in baseball that you're interested in talking about right now? Is there anything I didn't bring up you'd like to address before I let you go?
No, I mean, you know, it's the hitters just have to keep battling, do what each one of them has to do to have more productive at bats more often in every game. Hopefully, the young pitchers will step up and get them through. It happens a lot where you have these streaks and it looks like they're going to be a really bad team, and maybe they will be, but I kind of don't think so. And so let's get Pablo Lopez healthy. Let's get Royce Lewis healthy. Let's have Festa pitch like crazy and get the offense going. Just have a streak for 2 or 3 weeks that kind of reestablishes with themselves who they are.
Yes. Let's avoid general baseball malaise here while we're still in April. Let's hope this team can hang around and give us an interesting summer. That's the very least we can ask for and expect. Yep. Good stuff from Roy. Thank you, Roy. We'll be back next week with Chin Music. Check out all the other shows at talknorth.com. Check out Mark Rosen's new show, and we will talk to you next week.